James, these lists are a little tired. Let's be honest. All-time greatest 11 of what? Of this era, of that era, combined 11, right? Premier League all-time world, blah blah blah. I wanted to have a little bit of a variation on that today. This is our all-time Premier League 11 to win a league title. So what I mean by that is who I don't want to see the best football, right? I don't want to see the players we like the most or the players we think are the greatest per position. James and I are managers. We're designing a team out of all the players that have ever played in the Premier League over 38 games to win a league title. James doesn't know my team. I don't know James's team. We're just going to have it broken down here a little bit. I'll be honest. I didn't put loads and loads of work into this. I spent like 5 minutes doing it or so. James, same for you, right? I think you only spent like a couple minutes doing it here.
Literally.
So I just want to break down position by position. Where we differ, we can kind of have the conversation a little bit. But this video really is for you guys at home. Let us know which team wins the title if both these teams were in the Premier League. Before we properly get going, and I know I like these long intros, please please subscribe, do all that good stuff. We are, I believe it's, 23, James, 24 away from 1,000 subscribers. Please, if you want to be in our first kind of 1,000 subscriber club, we'd love to hit that by the end of the year. That would be much appreciated. But James, let's go ahead. I'm going to do yours first. Goalkeeper position, Alisson of Liverpool for me. I've gone Peter Schmeichel, all-time, obviously, of Manchester United. How close was Schmeichel to being your number one?
I'm very close by, and do you know what it is? Is that, Jack, you asked me that a team that I have to build from a point of view, and this is not fantasy. This
No.
is an actual tactical team.
Yes.
And I asked myself, is that I'm trying to play a bit more modern day. I want to play off from the back. I want my goalkeeper to be a bit more sweeper keeper, play on the halfway line a bit. So that's the reason why I chose an Alisson Becker over somebody like a Peter Schmeichel. Peter Schmeichel, of course, his Premier League legacy is incredible, but just the style I want to play, and especially modern day, Alisson Becker suits that more than a Peter Schmeichel, or for instance, a Peter Checker, like whoever else you want to throw at me. For what I want to play, Alisson Becker is my guy.
Yeah, look, and Alisson, I'm not going to, especially you've justified it. The way you want your team to play, Alisson has got to be the guy, or at least close. Even if you'd have picked Edison, I'd have been okay with that as well. Andre Onana, I know it's not been the best Premier League spell, but this modern day goalkeeper where pass success rate has gone from like 40% from the late 2010s or the late noughties up to goalkeeper pass percentage now needs to sit at like 75% to be a half effective goalkeeper. So real shift in the position. You'll see as the rest of my team unfolds here, James, what I'm kind of going for here a little bit more as well. And again, we can talk about it. Again, we'll start with you here, James, at the left back position. You've gone Cole or Evra, and I guess that'll be a conversation. I've gone Andrew Robertson. And again, I will explain that here a little more as we have going forward. James, let's get into the kind of guts of this. Ashley Cole, Patrice Evra. You initially mentioned, I think, Ashley Cole to begin with. Why did Evra start to sneak into your thinking?
Evra, because he won so many Premier League titles with Manchester United, and he was so crucial, Jack. Especially remember his final Premier League title. He captained Man United for for the majority of that season, and he also came up with a lot of crucial big goals, Jack, coming in from the back post, winning headers from set pieces. I feel like when you look at Patrice Evra, I know people talk glowingly about Ashley Cole, but he's right up there with Ashley Cole when you're talking about the best fullback, and not just in the Premier League, or just in world football. In general, my thing is this: is that I can ask them a bit about, because I have two really offensive wingers, and I want my fullback to say, you know what, you guys do your thing up there. We'll take care of what we have. Thing about it going backwards. So that's why I just have two players there who great defending, but if I do need them, to overlap, two of the best at doing that too.
So if I force you got to pick one. The other one's going on the bench. Who's it going to be?
Because of who I have, going that way, I'm going to ask for that extra bit of defensive now. So I'm going to say Ashley Cole.
Yeah, hard to, again, based on particularly on what you've said. Very hard for me to disagree with that. I've gone Andrew Robertson, James. This is, I want to say, as defenders go, this is the all-time assist leader. And he's still got several years of his career left, and didn't really enter the league as some like 18-year-old kind of fullback. He came into the league early 20s kind of time, and just has had this unbelievable success from fullback as a creative player for this Liverpool team. And for me, my fullback being able to defend and, you know, being creative as well and giving opportunities to the forwards that you'll see, which I have, I think is going to be really important, especially in crunch time, title type situations. Also, James, we talked about this, and I think it's the same for Ashley Cole. Andrew Robertson could have easily played in the 90s as fullback. He's got the exact same kind of physique and style. I think he'll be able to play with a Peter Schmeichel out from the back and some of the players I've paired him with. Let's go both centre backs for you, James, and then we'll do both of mine. Ferdinand and Van Dijk. What's the rationale with them? Because I have gone Terry and company.
Do you know what is that? I went for two centre backs who are quite similar in like the point of view of, you think of them bringing it out from the back and then the quick. John Terry was the one that I was thinking, oh, James pick. But because I want to play a high line, you know, because I want my team to be expansive. My issue with John Terry is that, seen a lot of times, especially on the Villas Boas and in like other managers, he struggled when he was asked to play at the halfway line. That's not really his game. Defending his penalty box, just defending overall, incredible. Being able to go in awkward areas and being asked to defend. Yes, when he has to be at the halfway line, you got players running past him. It can get just a bit awkward from there. And then I have two players who are so comfortable at doing that in Virgil van Dijk and like Rio Ferdinand. Two players who are a bit more laid back to the point of view of like they both like to have somebody go and press the ball. But
Right.
I'm gonna ask Rio Ferdinand to kind of, you go press, Van Dijk, you sit back and just mop up anything that goes in there. Another player that was in mind to me that would have worked very well in the system was Ricardo Carvalho, because that forward-minding, positive thing about that ball's in there. I'm gonna go pinch him first, and then you had John Terry covering there, which was a great thing there. But I'm happy with that too, because if you want to get into a foot race with any one of these two, Jack,
They'll be fine.
put them in any channel, they'll be
Right.
good. You know.
You kind of mentioned it, and again, the difference in our play styles here has become very, very interesting straight away. I think the expansive possession and territory dominated football that we've seen in the past is slowly fading away, right? There are trends in football across the board, and for me, my team are probably going to play a little deeper. It's probably going to be a little bit more direct. And my team, over the course of 38 games, I want moments. I want leaders. I want guys who, I don't want when their head to go down, when they concede a couple goals, I want them to come back firing. Can't think of any two better candidates than Terry and company. And on top of that, probably the two best out-and-out defenders that the league may well have seen. That maybe Nemanja Vidic or somebody like Jaap Stam comes to mind, right? Those were iconic players as defenders. But James has kind of gone the Rolls-Royce route for centre-back, who can actually play. My guy's a little less skilled there, but can defend first from my centre-backs. Right, James, let's do the right-back position.
My team's going to have a lot of the ball.
And Kyle Walker. No surprises here. Absolute freak athlete, is very comfortable playing with the ball and doing the expansive stuff, but can also play in a team that is going to be direct, that is going to rely on getting up that wide, doing the overlap, doing all that good stuff. In my mind, it's kind of like a Spurs Kyle Walker that I'm thinking of, whereas James, I'm sure for you, it's maybe a bit more of a Man City Kyle Walker. Is that fair to say?
But to me, the first thing that came into my head. What sort of Kyle Walker do you want? Because he can do a bit of both. If you want him bombing up down that line, you're thinking of the Spurs Kyle Walker with like Danny Rose, him and them just going up and down. They were to me they were Trent and Robertson before they became that. Yeah, but Kyle Walker overall is just a guy that, again, for the attacking players I have, I want people to say, you know what, you do your thing there, we'll take care of the back, and he can do that best. Another player that came into mind for me was Bakary Sagna. And you're thinking like, what? And then is it the Arsenal bias there? But for the time that he was there, defensively and going forward, he was one of the best in a country by a country mile. He was he was voted in the team of the year his first season in the Premier League and was so consistent his time at Arsenal, and even went to Manchester City and was good there too. But Kyle Walker has to be my guy.
And I think, James, it's fair to say, I think for me, it's been Azpilicueta for a long, long time. But I think Kyle Walker, especially over the last couple of years, Kyle Walker has been amazing and probably deserves that all-time right-back spot in the Premier League. Starts to get interesting now. We'd really start to see how our teams are playing when we look at these two. James has gone Claude Makelele. I've gone Roy Keane. I mean, James, it seems kind of silly having to defend picking a player like Claude Makelele, but do you want to justify him in your team there?
I don't think I need to justify it
No,
there. He
no.
when a position is named after you, you know that you're special, and especially I mentioned the fact that I want my expansive players to do them. Yeah, to just kill and just do what they do. And Claude Makélélé is the best guy for if you're an expansive player to just do what you want because you know that he's going to sit back there. He's Jack. He will cover you. And like the best bit about Claude Makélélé that I'll give him the biggest credit for, Jack on the ball. Yeah, he was so underrated. His ability to just find that little dink 20-yard pass, Jack, in like think about it, like in the wide channel or like into the striker was something that he was very, very good at playing to Jack, playing like playing through the lines when he had players like in the French team like Zidane, Patrick Vieira next to him. The guy can play on the ball, but especially mopping up and just moving side to side, speaking to defenders on like where he wants them to cover. To me, I just think that he's the best at what he does and what I want from my defensive midfielder. He's gonna give me that. Rodri was another one that I was thinking, oof, am I feeling a bit of that? It was between him and him and Rodri. Take nothing away from Roy Keane. If I was gonna pick Roy Keane, personally, I want him a little bit more higher, but I just feel like I have other players to do that job there.
Yeah, look, I've gone for Roy Keane again. I think you can see a little bit of an idea from mine. I think James's team's probably going to play a little better than mine, but I think mine in moments, leadership, accountability, all this good stuff, playing the more direct football, and also I think the training's going to be tight. I think any divas that I have in my team are going to be sorted out in a little bit more of an old-fashioned way. And I think Keane, much like John Terry, much like Danson Company, I have legends in my team, heroes, captains of teams in my team over the course of 38 games. I feel really strong about getting over the line. Roy Keane could play, by the way. He really could and was a great player. I'm also running the risk of the red card. I know that as well. James, go ahead.
I'm only saying, Jack, I know you want for the leaders thing there, but I feel like if too many of these guys who want to be the biggest alpha male in the team, you got Vincent Company there who likes to gather like his
I think I
defenders
got
around
three.
before the game. You have John Terry in there who's always Jack. He's always loves to be the number one guy in terms of you. I'm leading the show, and Roy Keane, you know who he is. So I feel like there's gonna be a lot of headbutting between a lot of these
There,
players there
there
on
might
who's
be.
the biggest alpha when it comes to that.
Ferdinand was a Man United captain, right? I think Cole may have captained Chelsea at one point. You have leaders in your team. For me, so far, I've got three big ones in Terry, Company, and Keane, which I think are going to hold me in good stead over 38 games. Obviously, gets a little interesting here, James. I'm going to do these at the same time. So we'll look at your central midfield pairing ahead of Claude Makélélé and my central midfield pairing ahead of Roy Keane. So I've gone Yaya Toure and Frank Lampard. James, you've gone Yaya Toure and De Bruyne. What's the rationale there? I mean, you've
Do you
mentioned
know?
expansive football, bit of control, all that stuff.
Do you know what it is, Jack? I'm glad we were kind of singing from the same clock because it is very similar. I too CMs or attacking midfield, whatever you want to say there. Yaya Toure to me in 2014 produced the greatest midfield performance I've ever seen from a midfield in Premier League history. Jack, the way he's able to pick the ball out deep, and just I mean bulldoze his way through
Yeah,
teams. And Jack, if you want to be a bit expansive in play, nobody can play like he did. Technically superb. His free kicks, whatever you want from Yaya Toure, he got it. He's the best I've seen as a midfielder. Yeah, in Premier League history of one season is Yaya Toure. Just that power, the technical ability, ridiculous. And then a guy who can just finds his pockets, guys, and who's always, always, always going to look for the player. If you want a midfielder to play behind and like create chances, you want to be playing a player like Kevin De Bruyne.
yeah,
He can operate in so many ways, and I can ask him, you know what? KDB, could you drop a little bit deeper for Yaya to let Yaya kind of do his thing? Cool. To me, they can both work off each other from the point of view. Could you play a little bit deeper, let him make them late runs into the box, or could you play a bit deeper and then think about let him make the runs into the box? They can both kind of do a bit of everything there. They got the goal scoring into them, and secondly, Jack, big game players. The thing about it, these guys in the big games, they're going to step up. You know that they're not going to be overall and just players there that have that acute pass there, that ball threading through for my attacking players who are just there to kill.
yeah. Mine's a little different, and you'll see by my striker choice in particular that I need my goals from. I'm putting my goals in about 2 or 3 positions on the pitch, which I think is a good cover. It's not to say that Yaya Toure can't score goals, Roy Keane can't score goals, but James, you don't pick Frank Lampard in your team to do anything else but basically score you goals from midfield. That's his bread and butter. I don't think anybody thinks Steven Gerrard wasn't a better overall player than Frank Lampard, that Paul Scholes wasn't an overall better player than Frank Lampard. But James, the goals speak for themselves. And these aren't tap-ins. These are high-difficulty goals from midfield. And Frank Lampard and his shooting from those kinds of positions was elite. And when they're falling to him and he's being laid up by certain players, I think that's going to work very, very well from him. And again, you'll see my wingers, you'll see my striker, you'll see how this is all going to kind of blend together here at the end. Left wing, I think, James, this is pretty easy. And I'm not going to say I'm too surprised if anybody picks anything else. In my head, I've got 2007, 2008, just at the end of Man United, Cristiano Ronaldo really, really banging in the goals. I assume you have the same guy.
Him. I have him. You know, just to me, what you want there, a guy that can play multiple positions. I don't expect Cristiano just to play out wide jack. He might drift into the striker position. That's why I have who I think about it. I have there. He might drift in out wide there. Goal hungry. Absolute goal hungry, and in the is it a bit of a clashing with all these players wanting to be goal hungry? Yeah, but I'm gonna say that, you know what, great players can make it work. So Cristiano, what can we say?
Yeah, he's ridiculous. And again, my thought process is I've got a lot of players in my team who are a bit more selfless, who are more creative or more defensively minded, keeping things strong at the back, keeping things solid, to allow players like Cristiano Ronaldo, like Frank Lampard, to do their thing, which is putting the ball in the net. Right wing, again, James, maybe not so much as Ronaldo, but I think generally speaking, 99% of people are probably going to go for the same thing. Mo Salah. It's not just one season, it's multiple seasons now. The guy's been absolutely incredible. Again, you know my thoughts. He's been in a setup that I think has been allowed to benefit him. James, in my team, he's going to have pretty much the same kind of setup. He really is. He's going to be able to come in off that right-hand side with Walker bombing down. My striker is not Mr. Goal hungry, staying on the last man type guy, so there will be space for Salah to operate in my team. And again, like Ronaldo, like Lampard, that's my goal threat. Those are my 3 guys, from Lampard down to Salah. That's my big goal threat, and I can't think of 3 better players.
Do you know what, Jack? It's you know what Salah's been able to do in the Premier League era, but I'm going to ask for modern day Salah, this year Salah, as in not as I'm the highest point of the team, because we do have Cristiano Ronaldo there. I'm going to ask for this year where he plays a little bit deeper, but obviously still plays high. But he's mainly looking to find these passes like Jack in behind, and like, to me, a player that he will combine so well with is Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne likes to make what's it called again? That straight run. He likes to make that straight run, or think about that overlap into the box for the cutback and the pullback. So with Salah kind of dropping in deep, playing in that ball, and like Kevin De Bruyne making the straight run or even the overlap and run there, that could be a serious problem.
James, striker position, and again, you can have fun with this. I wouldn't be too offended at Erling Haaland. I know it's been one season, but he did set the record for goals and is the fastest to 50 goals with 2 games to spare for a goal per game. So I don't think you'd be too offended there. There's the all-time goal scorer that you can choose from. Harry Kane has had his moments, but let's see what you and I have done here. Thierry Henry, probably not surprising for people who've been following the channel. And James, for me, Didier Drogba. Absolute freak show. I'm just going to say my piece. James knows how I feel about Didier Drogba. To me, Didier Drogba is the greatest Premier League striker that there has ever been. Yes, guys, it's not all about goals. He's the complete package, the ultimate clutch player, and he allows other players around him to be better. That's his biggest attribute. And what I can do is I can kind of have a bunch of guys maybe around him, or maybe 2 or 3 guys around him, to feed my main central striker, like an Erling Haaland, who has a big appetite and is hungry for goals. Or I can have a guy who's huge in big moments, is fantastic at holding up play if I want to be more direct, can still run channels, can still dribble, can still be creative, and can still be a killer finisher where he needs to be. But I'm also given a guy who is selfless, a warrior. And again, I think, James, if you look at my 11, in big moments, my team are going to come out on top, and this team will be in every game. Over 38 games, I'm seeing 38 wins. That's how I'm going to sound out my team. Thierry Henry, go ahead. What else is there to say?
You know what? Didier Drogba was a player that to me was obviously in my list too. I think especially with those two there, Jack, especially with Didier Drogba's ability to hold that ball
Right.
and bring players into play. For a player like Cristiano Ronaldo, for a player like Salah, you know that if I give that ball into him,
Lampard.
he's gonna hold it and he's gonna bring me into play. Could you imagine the 1-2s being played off a player like Didier Drogba for these guys? Then just an unbelievable player for me to work with. But Jack knows what I feel about Thierry Henry, the greatest Premier League player of all time. My hero, just absolutely incredible. What I'm looking for is a bit of fluidity from the point of view of I don't want my striker always just sitting there hogging up, that central spot. I want my striker to drift in here, there, come get the ball, and like when he does drift in, Kevin De Bruyne, could you make a run? Yaya Toure, could you make a run? Cristiano Ronaldo, could you play as a striker? Henry may
Right.
go out wide, or like Henry may swap with Salah. So just a bit of loads of different fluidity there. I'm not going to say Henry's going to be a Firmino because he's freaking Thierry Henry, but
Right.
just his ability to just kind of pop up in different areas and keep, to me, that defense thinking at all times, where's Thierry going to pop up? Thierry isn't there. Oh, damn. Ronaldo's there. So just different sort of questions always being asked from them players. Jack, you talk about goals. Generally, when you look at that right there, that's a 95 goal a season front three right there.
Right.
At,
Maybe more.
at minimum.
Right.
Yeah, at minimum, Jack. You
Right.
know, it's just crazy to me.
With De Bruyne in the team, it might be more.
Oh, exactly too. Exactly.
Guys at home, let us know what you think. Does the Jack Farr Premier League 11 win a Premier League title over 38 games, or does the James Macajola team win a Premier League title over 38 games? Couple of different styles, some different players. I will say, I haven't got a problem with any of the players James has picked. I would assume James has none of the issues with the players I've picked. What do you guys at home think? Also, drop your teams down. Not just the best team or the best in each position, a team that actually works together over a season to win you a league title. Let's see.
And we need reasons, guys. We need actual reasons behind that, please. So just give us a reason why.
And until next time, you guys, we'll see you.